Blu Cantrell was once one of the biggest names in R&B, a rising star who took the music world by storm with her powerful voice and undeniable talent. Her hit single, Hit 'Em Up Style, Oops, dominated the airwaves in the early 2000s, earning her Grammy nominations, worldwide fame, and a promising career. She had everything: success, beauty, and a voice that could rival the best in the industry. But then something strange happened. Just as quickly as she rose to fame, she seemed to vanish from the spotlight. No major scandals, no major farewell, just a slow and quiet disappearance that left fans wondering what went wrong.
Enjoying the video? Show your support by hitting the like button, sharing it with friends, and subscribing for more.
How could an artist with so much potential fall off the radar so suddenly? So what really happened to Blu Cantrell? Was she a victim of the industry, or was there something more to her downfall? Let's uncover the truth behind one of R&B's biggest mysteries. From Tiffany Cobb to Blu Cantrell, the early years. Before the world knew her as Blu Cantrell, she was just Tiffany Cobb, a young girl from Providence, Rhode Island, with dreams bigger than her small-town surroundings. Born into a world filled with music, struggle, and ambition, Blu's journey to stardom was anything but ordinary. Growing up in a working-class family, Blu was heavily influenced by her mother, Suni Williams, a jazz singer. Music was always present in their home, and from an early age, Blu knew that she wanted to become a performer. But life wasn't easy. She and her siblings often faced financial struggles, and with an absent father, her mother was left to raise 6 children on her own. Despite the hardships, Blu was determined to make something of herself. She had a natural gift, a voice that could command attention, filled with raw emotion and undeniable power. She started performing at local events, showcasing her incredible vocal range, and it didn't take long before people began noticing her talent. As a teenager, Blu knew that if she wanted to make it in the music industry, she had to leave Rhode Island and take a risk. So at just 17 years old, she packed her bags and moved to New York City with hopes of landing a record deal. But making it in the city was no easy task. To survive, she worked odd jobs, including waitressing and even posing for men's magazines. A decision that would later come back to haunt her. During this time, she also tried her hand at modeling, appearing in photo shoots that were more risque than she anticipated. While she saw it as a means to an end, a way to keep herself afloat while chasing her music dreams, these photos would later be used against her when she entered the public eye. Still, Blu remained focused on music. She spent years grinding in the underground music scene, performing at small venues, recording demo tapes, and networking with producers. But despite her undeniable talent, she struggled to get her foot in the door. Everything changed when she decided to move to Atlanta, a city that was quickly becoming the hub for R&B and hip-hop. It was here that she would finally catch the break she'd been waiting for, but not before enduring more hardships and setbacks that tested her resilience. The industry breakthrough, how Blu Cantrell got her big shot. After years of struggling in New York, Blu Cantrell decided to take a leap of faith and move to Atlanta, the rising epicenter of R&B and hip-hop. At the time, Atlanta's music scene was exploding, with artists like Usher, TLC, and Outkast making waves. Blu knew that if she was ever going to get noticed, this was the place to be. But success didn't come overnight. Blu spent years hustling, performing at small clubs, working as a backup singer, and recording demo after demo, hoping that someone in the industry would recognize her undeniable talent. She faced rejection after rejection, but she refused to give up. Things took a turn when she was introduced to Tricky Stewart, a well-known producer who had worked with some of the biggest names in music. Impressed by her soulful voice and unique sound, Stewart saw potential in Blu and decided to help her land a record deal. Through Tricky Stewart, Blu was introduced to L.A. Reid, one of the most powerful executives in the music industry at the time. Reid was known for signing major artists and had a track record of turning undiscovered talent into superstars. When Blu performed for him, she left everyone in the room speechless. Her voice was raw, powerful, and full of emotion, something the industry had been missing. Reid didn't hesitate. He signed her to Arista Records almost immediately. After years of struggle, Blu had finally secured a record deal, and she was ready to take on the world. But the excitement of getting signed quickly turned into a whole new set of challenges. The pressure of the industry. Getting a record deal was only the beginning. Now, Blu had to prove that she was worth the investment. The label pushed her to work non-stop, spending long hours in the studio perfecting her sound. While she was passionate about her music, she soon realized that the industry was not as glamorous as it seemed. Executives had strong opinions about how she should look, sound, and act. They wanted her to be a marketable R&B artist, which meant conforming to a certain image, one that didn't always feel true to who she was. Blu, however, wasn't willing to change herself to fit the industry's mold. She was determined to stay authentic, even if it meant clashing with executives. Despite the pressure, Blu poured her heart and soul into her debut album. She worked with top producers and songwriters, determined to make a record that was both commercially successful and true to her artistry. And then finally it happened. Blu recorded the song that would change her life forever. Hit 'Em Up Style, the song that launched her career. One day in the studio, Blu was introduced to a song called Hit 'Em Up Style, Oops. The track was catchy, bold, and had a revengeful energy that stood out. It told the story of a woman getting back at a cheating man by spending all his money, a concept that resonated with women everywhere. From the moment she recorded it, everyone knew they had a hit on their hands. When the song was released in 2001, it exploded onto the music charts. It became a radio favorite, topping the Billboard Hot 100 and earning Blu Grammy nominations. Suddenly, Blu Cantrell was everywhere. She was performing at award shows, appearing on TV, and doing magazine interviews. After years of struggle, she had finally made it to the top. But what should have been the start of a long and successful career quickly took a turn for the worse. Behind the scenes, trouble was brewing, and Blu's time in the spotlight was about to be cut short. Fame's dark side, the backlash, tabloids, and relationship struggles. With Hit 'Em Up Style, Oops, dominating the charts, Blu Cantrell had officially arrived. The success of the song not only made her a household name, but it also positioned her as one of the freshest voices in R&B. However, as history has shown time and time again, fame often comes at a high cost. And Blu was about to learn this the hard way. At first, everything seemed perfect. She was touring, making TV appearances, and basking in the glow of her newfound fame. But behind the scenes, the pressure was mounting. Record label executives, the media, and even the people around her began to change their attitude toward her. It wasn't about the music anymore. It was about maintaining a certain image, staying relevant, and keeping up with the fast-paced demands of the industry. The tabloid scandals, a past that came back to haunt her. Just as Blu was celebrating her success, a scandal erupted that threatened to ruin everything she had worked for. Old modeling photos from her early days in New York, where she posed for men's magazines to support herself, resurfaced. Instead of focusing on her talent and achievements, the media latched onto these photos, turning them into a controversy. Suddenly, tabloids were running sensationalized stories, questioning her credibility as an artist and painting her as someone unworthy of mainstream success. Blu was shocked and devastated. She had never tried to hide her past, but she never expected it to be used against her in such a public and cruel way. The industry, which once welcomed her with open arms, now treated her differently. Instead of defending her, many people distanced themselves from her, fearing that the controversy would tarnish their own reputations. Relationship drama, love and betrayal in the public eye. As if the tabloid attacks weren't enough, Blu was also dealing with a painful personal betrayal. During the height of her success, she was romantically involved with an NBA player, and their relationship quickly became a topic of gossip and speculation. At first, their romance seemed like a fairy tale, but as the pressures of fame grew, so did the cracks in their relationship. The media scrutiny, long-distance challenges, and rumors of infidelity created a toxic environment. Eventually, her partner walked away, leaving Blu heartbroken and emotionally drained. The breakup only added to her growing stress and insecurities. She had already been battling self-doubt, industry pressures, and public humiliation, and now she had to heal from a broken heart while still pretending everything was fine. Industry politics. Was Blu Cantrell being pushed out? As Blu tried to recover from the controversies, she noticed something strange happening within the industry. Opportunities that once came easily were suddenly harder to secure. Calls that were once returned went unanswered. It was as if she was being quietly pushed out of the spotlight. There were whispers that certain industry power players were making sure Blu's career would never reach its full potential. Some believed that the scandals surrounding her past were used as an excuse to phase her out, while others suspected something even more sinister, that Blu Cantrell was being blacklisted by some of the most powerful people in the music industry. But why? And who would want to see her disappear from the charts? Some believe that the answer lies in one of the most powerful couples in music, Jay-Z and Beyoncé. Was she blacklisted? The Jay-Z and Beyoncé conspiracy theory. Blu Cantrell's sudden disappearance from the music industry left fans wondering, was she pushed out intentionally? While some attributed it to bad luck, poor management, or personal struggles, others believe that powerful figures in the industry played a direct role in ending her career. One of the most talked about theories involves Jay-Z and Beyoncé. For years, rumors have circulated that Blu's downfall was not accidental, but rather the result of industry politics and power moves made by some of the most influential names in music. The alleged Jay-Z connection, a secret affair? One of the most persistent rumors is that Blu Cantrell was involved with Jay-Z before he publicly got serious with Beyoncé. Some reports suggest that Blu and Jay-Z had a brief romantic connection, possibly even during the time that he was first linked to Beyoncé. While neither Blu nor Jay-Z has ever confirmed this, the speculation alone was enough to cause problems. If there was any truth to the rumors, it could have led to tension behind the scenes, especially as Beyoncé's career was rising rapidly. Some industry insiders claim that Blu's name became a problem, and as Beyoncé's influence grew, certain people wanted her out of the picture. Was she silenced? The industry's alleged power plays. Some believe that after Beyoncé and Jay-Z became the industry's biggest power couple, anyone who was seen as a threat to their image or legacy was quietly pushed aside. This theory suggests that Blu was blacklisted, preventing her from getting radio play, press opportunities, or record deals. It wouldn't be the first time the music industry used its silent power to phase out an artist. We've seen other singers mysteriously disappear after being blacklisted by record labels, radio stations, and major executives. Could Blu Cantrell have been another victim of industry politics and quiet sabotage?
Before we dive in, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest content.
The Blue Ivy theory. Was Blu Cantrell's legacy erased? One of the wildest theories surrounding Blu Cantrell's disappearance is linked to Beyoncé and Jay-Z's daughter, Blue Ivy Carter. Some fans believe that Beyoncé and Jay-Z intentionally named their child Blue to overshadow Blu Cantrell's legacy online. While this may seem like a stretch, some point to the fact that search engine results for Blu Cantrell significantly dropped after Blue Ivy was born in 2012. Suddenly, when people searched for Blu, they were bombarded with articles, pictures, and videos about Beyoncé's daughter, making it much harder to find anything related to Blu Cantrell. Of course, this theory remains speculative, and there's no direct evidence to suggest that Beyoncé and Jay-Z intentionally tried to erase Blu Cantrell's name from the industry. However, for fans who believe Blu was silenced or sabotaged, this was yet another strange coincidence that made her sudden disappearance even more suspicious. Did Blu speak out? What she said about the rumors. Blu has never directly confirmed or denied any of these rumors. However, in past interviews, she has hinted at being treated unfairly by the industry. She has mentioned that she felt like she was shut out of opportunities, that people turned their backs on her, and that she never got the support she needed from her label after her initial success. She has also acknowledged the struggles of being a female artist in a male-dominated industry, where power dynamics often determine who thrives and who fades away. Whether or not Jay-Z and Beyoncé were directly involved, it's clear that something happened behind the scenes that led to her downfall. But Blu's story isn't just about industry drama and rumors. It's also about the brutal business side of music, where contract disputes and financial battles can destroy even the most talented artists. Contract traps and industry neglect. While rumors about industry sabotage and powerful figures blacklisting Blu Cantrell continue to circulate, there's another major reason why she may have disappeared: the dark side of the music business itself. Many artists, especially those who rise to fame quickly, fall victim to bad contracts, financial struggles, and industry neglect. Blu was no exception. The label shakeup, how Blu got lost in the system. After the success of Hit 'em Up style, Oops, Blu was expected to become a long-term star, but behind the scenes her career was being mishandled by the industry. At the time, Blu was signed to Arista Records, which was under the leadership of L.A. Reid, the man who originally saw her potential. However, in 2004, L.A. Reid left Arista Records, and his departure threw the label into chaos. With Reid gone, Blu's career was suddenly in limbo. Without a major executive backing her, her second album, Bittersweet, didn't get the same push from the label. There was less promotion, fewer marketing efforts, and no real strategy to keep her at the top. This kind of industry neglect is common. When an executive leaves, artists who were personally signed by them often get lost in the shuffle, especially if their next project isn't an instant success. Instead of fighting for her, the label shifted focus to other rising artists, leaving Blu to struggle with an uncertain future. The financial nightmare. Where did the money go? Another major issue Blu faced was financial mismanagement. Like many artists, she didn't have full control over her earnings, and record labels often take the majority of the profits from album sales, touring, and endorsements. Even though Hit 'em Up style was a massive success, Blu reportedly didn't see much of the money. The industry is infamous for trapping artists in unfair contracts where labels take the majority of royalties, control the artist's touring and merchandise profits, recoup expenses first, leaving artists with little to nothing. Blu herself has hinted at financial struggles, suggesting that she wasn't properly compensated for her success. Without strong legal representation and industry connections to protect her, she quickly found herself in a financial crisis, despite being a platinum-selling artist. Legal battles and lost opportunities. On top of financial struggles, Blu was also facing legal disputes. As her career began to slow down, she reportedly had contractual restrictions that made it difficult for her to release new music independently or sign with another label. Many artists have spoken out about how record labels hold them hostage, refusing to release them from contracts while also blocking them from making new deals elsewhere. If Blu was stuck in a binding contract with no real career support, it would explain why she wasn't able to make a successful comeback after her second album. Was she set up to fail? Blu's downfall wasn't just about bad luck. It was a combination of industry politics, financial exploitation, and lack of support from her label. Without radio play, promotional backing, or a strong legal team, Blu's career faded out faster than anyone expected. Unlike other artists who had powerful connections to help them bounce back, Blu found herself alone, financially struggling, and fighting an uphill battle. With her music career falling apart, her mental and emotional health also began to suffer. Mental health crisis and public breakdown. The lowest point. As Blu Cantrell's career faded from the mainstream spotlight, her personal struggles became harder to hide. With the music industry turning its back on her and financial troubles mounting, she found herself spiraling into a dark place. This led to a very public mental health crisis, one that shocked fans and raised concerns about what had truly happened behind the scenes. Blu went from being a rising R&B star to making headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2014, news broke that she had suffered a serious mental breakdown, which led to a troubling public episode, the incident that shocked fans. Late one night, Blu was found wandering the streets of Santa Monica, acting erratically. According to reports, she was yelling about being poisoned and was convinced that people were out to get her. Witnesses said she was paranoid, disoriented, and behaving in a way that suggested she was in distress. Law enforcement was called, and when officers arrived, Blu allegedly continued to make bizarre statements, claiming that someone was controlling her mind with harmful technology. This incident led to her being placed on a 5150 psychiatric hold, a legal action used when someone is deemed to be a danger to themselves or others. For many fans, this was a heartbreaking moment. Blu had been out of the public eye for years, and the next time she made headlines, it was for something so tragic: the harsh reality of the music industry's treatment of mental health. Blu's breakdown wasn't an isolated incident in the music world. Many artists, especially women in the industry, have spoken out about the intense pressures they face, leading to anxiety, depression, and even full mental collapses. From Britney Spears to Mariah Carey, we've seen the industry push talented women to their breaking points, often ignoring their struggles until they're too severe to hide. Instead of offering support, the industry discards them, labeling them as unstable rather than addressing the root causes of their struggles. Blu Cantrell's situation was no different. Instead of getting the help and support she needed, she was cast aside. Her struggles turned into gossip rather than a cry for help. Was this the final straw for her career? Following her breakdown, Blu Cantrell disappeared from the music industry completely. Unlike some artists who are able to make a comeback after a crisis, Blu never seemed to get the chance. There were no new albums, no major interviews, and no efforts from record labels to help her rebuild. It was as if she had been completely erased from the industry. A once promising R&B star, now lost in the shadows of her past success. But was this truly the end of her story? Or was she simply waiting for the right moment to return? Where is Blu Cantrell now? After years of silence and speculation, fans have continued to ask the same question. Where is Blu Cantrell now? Did she walk away from the industry on her own terms? Or is there something more to her disappearance? While she has largely remained out of the spotlight, there have been a few rare appearances and hints that she may not be done with music just yet. Rare public appearances. Signs of a comeback? Although Blu has avoided the media for most of the last decade, she has made a few surprising appearances that suggest she hasn't completely given up on music. In 2020, she performed in London, proving that she still had her incredible voice and stage presence. Fans were thrilled to see her back, and for a moment it seemed like she was ready to make a full-fledged return to the industry. She has also been spotted at small music events and private shows, leading some to believe that she is slowly regaining her confidence in performing. However, despite these small moments in the spotlight, Blu has not released new music or officially announced any comeback projects. One of the biggest challenges for Blu Cantrell has been staying relevant in an industry that has completely changed since the early 2000s. The rise of streaming services, social media, and independent platforms has allowed many artists to bypass traditional labels and take control of their careers. If Blu were to return, she wouldn't need a major label to back her. Instead, she could use platforms like TikTok and Instagram to reconnect with fans, release independent music on Spotify and Apple Music, allowing her to keep full creative control. Tell her own story through a documentary or podcast, giving insight into what really happened behind the scenes. Is there still an audience for Blu Cantrell? Absolutely. Nostalgia for early 2000s. R&B is at an all-time high, with fans of that era eager to see their favorite artists return. Recent comebacks from stars like Ashanti, Brandy, and Monica have shown that there is still a huge demand for classic R&B voices. If Blu were to make a strategic return, she could capitalize on re-recording her old hits for streaming audiences, collaborating with modern R&B and hip-hop artists to bridge the generational gap, reclaiming her narrative by addressing the industry's mistreatment of her career. Blu Cantrell isn't forgotten, but the question remains, does she want to return, or has she chosen to stay away from the industry for good? Regardless of what happens next, her story serves as a cautionary tale about the highs and lows of fame. She was once on top of the world, only to be silenced by industry politics, financial struggles, and personal battles. But if there's one thing we know about Blu, it's that she has always been a fighter. The only question left is, will she fight for a comeback, or is she content with the life she's built outside of the industry? The real cost of fame. Blu Cantrell's story is a powerful reminder of how brutal the music industry can be. She went from being one of the biggest R&B stars of the early 2000s to completely disappearing from the spotlight, leaving fans wondering what really happened. Was she blacklisted by powerful industry figures? Was she a victim of unfair contracts and financial exploitation? Or did the emotional and mental toll of fame push her away from the industry? The truth is likely a combination of all these factors. What's clear is that Blu Cantrell was incredibly talented, and her success wasn't a fluke. She had the voice, the stage presence, and the star power to be one of the greats. But like so many artists before her, she got caught in the ugly side of the music business, where fame is temporary and loyalty is rare. Now, years later, fans are still asking the same question. Will she ever make a comeback? She's reappeared here and there, but she's never fully returned to reclaim her place in R&B. And maybe that's her choice. Maybe Blu Cantrell decided that her peace was more important than chasing fame again. But what do you think? Was Blu Cantrell intentionally pushed out of the industry, or was it just bad luck? Would you want to see her make a comeback, or do you think she's better off staying away from the spotlight? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another deep dive into the biggest music industry mysteries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.